What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Fish the Moment. Today, I'm starting a brand new series called the Quick Pattern Series. And I'm gonna be starting off with some footage I filmed back before Christmas where I was crushing them on a lipless crankbait in 2 feet of water when the water temps were 46 degrees. And this is a great pattern for all those guys who are dealing with high, muddy water on their home lakes right now. And so, if you like this new series format, or just like the video in general, let me know in the comments down below, and also share the video with a friend if you think they'd enjoy. And other than that, let's get straight into the video.
Got a big one, giant. Stay on, fish. Got really good. I can't turn him. That is a toad. Oh, oh my gosh! That thing choked it right at the boat. Gotta get a hand on him. He's got hooks everywhere. Look at that thing, guys. Welcome to Fish the Moment. Woo! Yes! Man, that is a beast. Oh my gosh, guys, you have no idea. Today has been crazy. Crazy day. That is a good one right there, boys. Woo! Yes! Oh, let's get a weight on this guy real quick. 4.69 pounds, 4.5 pounder. Beautiful fish. Look at that thing. That is healthy. You guys would not imagine that this giant fish would come out of a foot of water in 47-degree water temperatures the day before Christmas, December 24th, but that's what happened. Beautiful fish. Let's put him back. There we go. What is up, guys? Got that fish on a Strike King Red Eye Shad Tungsten 2-tap version, and I was literally throwing that bait up in a foot of water. If you look up here on the bank, I'm just fishing some of this shallow, flooded grass, and it's actually the day before Christmas, December 24th, and it's like 30 degrees outside. I am freezing. This morning there's ice on my truck, and I cannot believe that I'm catching them literally up in 2 feet of water. Like, that fish came right up here on this flooded grass, fishing that lipless crankbait, super shallow. And man, I fished offshore all morning because that's normally how this lake fishes. But a lot of times this year, they actually draw the lake down like 6, 7, 8 feet. And for whatever reason, because of all the rain I think we had this winter, the lake is still high, and it's actually normal pool. It's not that much higher than normal pool, but because it wasn't drawn down, a lot of these big fish are staying up shallow, which is wild when the water temps are 46, 47 degrees.
Okay guys, so let me give you a rundown of the conditions I was facing this morning. When I started fishing, the air temperatures were in the mid to low 30s, and the water temperatures were between 45 and 46 degrees. There was also no wind, and the sun was out, and so because of the calm conditions and the really cold temperatures, I decided to start fishing offshore because I thought that would give me the best chance to put some fish in the boat early. And normally the offshore bite is really good on this lake in the middle of the winter, but I fished out there for 2 to 3 hours and didn't get a single bite. But as the day went on, the conditions started to change. First up, the sun was out, and that started warming up the water temperatures into the 47 to 48 degree range up shallow. But a small front started to move through, and that kept the air temperatures between 30 and 35 degrees all day, but it also brought some wind. And the other factor that was at play today was that the lake was a lot higher than it normally is this time of year. This lake I'm fishing right now is normally drawn down 2 to 5 feet during the winter time so they can work on the dam and the spillway. But because of all the rain that we had in Arkansas in November and December, the lake levels never dropped this winter, and that kept a lot of the shoreline grass in the water. And one thing I've learned over the years fishing in the wintertime is that bass love to get around live grass in the winter, regardless of how deep it is. And even though the water temperatures were 46 to 47 degrees today and air temperatures were in the 30s, there was actually some living grass in 2 to 3 feet of water that was still in the water because of that rain, and normally in the winter the lake is drawn down and that grass dies. So after finding out that there was some living grass near the bank, and after noticing the conditions had changed and the wind had started to blow, I went up shallow for a few minutes and started throwing a lipless crankbait near the bank. And this is a pattern that I use in Arkansas a lot of times when the water is dirty or if I can find any living grass up shallow. And I wasn't really that confident that I was going to get any bites, but within my first 7 or 8 casts up shallow, I lose a 3-pounder on this lipless crankbait right at the boat. And I was actually pretty shocked that I got that bite. And so I kept that lipless crankbait in my hand and I started paralleling some of the grass around the lake where I caught fish in the post-spawn in May and June. And about 15 or 20 minutes later, I got another bite, and I lost this fish again, but it was a 2.5-pounder, and it was sitting right on the edge of some grass that's pretty close to a spawning pocket, and it's again a really good place where I catch them in the post-spawn when the fish get off the beds. And so after making all of those adjustments and losing those 2 fish, I finally made my way to that shallow grassy point where you saw me catch that 4 3/4 pounder.
And actually I almost left this spot right before I caught that fish, and I pulled back in here because I had a feeling there might be some fish in here. Normally when the lake floods, this area can get pretty good, and there's actually a little retaining wall back here and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, when I got back in here, I just wasn't feeling it. A lot of the grass is a little bit dead, and I don't know, I just wasn't really thinking there'd be any fish pulled up in here, and I almost left. I was literally gonna leave the cast that fish bit me right here at the boat, and a lot of times I'll find myself kind of second guessing a decision, and instead of leaving right away, I normally try to make 10 or 15 extra casts before leaving a spot. Just kind of fish through that doubt, and you have no idea how many times I'll catch a fish on those next 10 or 15 casts right before I'm about to leave. So before you decide to leave a spot and give up on something, give it 10 or 15 more casts, because a lot of times you can kind of fish through that doubt and put some good fish in the boat. Got him. Another big one. Oh. Whoa, fish. Got a big one. Got from under the boat. I'm so glad I didn't leave this area. Again, fish through that doubt. That fish choked it. Oh my gosh. Yes, dude. Another one. Super shallow. Look how healthy that fish is. Man, that was such a good decision to come back in here, and I'm so glad that last fish bit me right on my last cast before I left, because that is a toad, dude. Look how he ate that lipless crankbait. This fish is so cold, and that's like, I can see the bottom right here. It's so shallow. That is awesome. Oh my gosh, look at that fish. That is just a brute, and he choked that bait. Oh my gosh, that is ridiculous. Whew. That is awesome. What a great fish. Let me get him unhooked real quick. 4.21, 4.25, somewhere around there. It's kind of wavering back and forth, but 4 1/4 pounder. Back up that 4 3/4 pounder I just caught. Whew. That is a toad right up here in this shallow grass. Let's let this guy back into the lake. Man, there we go. Another fish on that red-eye shad lipless crankbait, Rayburn red craw colors for the tungsten 2-tap version. And if you look what he came out of, there's just some shallow wispy grass. I mean, if you look at my graph, I actually still have it set for when I'm fishing in the super deep lakes around Northwest Arkansas, and it says it's 8 feet. It's not actually 8 feet. It's actually like 2 feet. My graph sometimes has some errors. As you can see, it's skipping between like 16 and 8. It's literally 2 feet of water right here on the edge of this grass. Like, that's where my pole goes down. It goes down that far. It's so shallow here. But these fish are pulled up on the edge of this shallow grass, way back up in here, in the backs of these creeks. This is wild. Hey guys, so here's the grass I'm fishing today. It's actually more like a reed than grass. It's actually pretty thick, but all the grass up here, real shallow and like 6 inches of water, is all dead. But if you look on the outside edge here, you can actually see a few pieces of grass that are actually still alive and green. And oh, that water's really cold. If you look at this, here's the grass. You can see this is still nice and green on the end, and this is the stuff those fish are getting in. They're not up in that dead grass up super shallow. They're on the very outside edge in about 2 to 3 feet of water where there's still some of this grass that's alive. And this stuff actually sucks to fish with lipless crankbait because the hook will go straight through this stuff and you'll get hung up a lot. It's not like hydrilla where you can tear it through. Oh, my hands are freezing, but you can actually still work this lipless crankbait through this grass pretty easily. And as long as you keep it on the outside edge by that green living grass, it's a little bit easier to fish. That dead grass is actually a little bit stickier, or grabs the hooks a little bit more. So just try to keep your bait on the outside edge of this reed grass. I don't even know what this is. This is like water willow. I don't even think it's water willow, but whatever it is, fish are holding in it and it's working today.
And when I'm fishing a lipless crankbait in the wintertime in the shallow grass, I'm trying to make my cast parallel to that grass line and have my bait land right on the edge of that grass in 2 to 3 feet of water. And I don't want my bait to land too far into the grass because it'll get hung up too often. I also don't want it to be too far away from the edge of the grass, because the key to this technique is actually getting that bait hung up in a few of the outside pieces of grass and then ripping that bait free of the grass with my rod like you see right now. And the action of having that bait pull free of the grass is what's getting those fish to react to the bait and eat it. And so if I made a cast and didn't hit grass, I wasn't getting bit. And if I casted it too far into the grass and it got balled up in the grass, those fish wouldn't bite it either. So you had to make the perfect cast right down the edge and have it just tick a couple pieces of grass and rip free, and every single bite came when that bait was ripping free of the grass. And the water on the lake I'm fishing today is pretty clear, with 2 to 3 feet of visibility, even up shallow after all that rain. But I have caught fish on this pattern even when the water clarity on the lake is less than a foot of water and really dirty. So really the key is just having high water or rising water that gets into that shallow grass. The water clarity doesn't really affect this pattern much at all.
Okay guys, so here's the equipment I'm throwing today. First off, I'm throwing a Strike King Red Eye Shad in the Sam Rayburn red craw color. This is the 1/2 ounce size, and this is also the tungsten 2-tap version, which has a little bit different sound, which I really like. And I'm upgrading the stock treble hooks to size 4 Gamakatsu EWGs, and these are the same hooks I use in all my square bills and lipless crankbaits. I really like these hooks. And then as far as my equipment goes, I'm throwing a 7-foot medium light action Quantum Tour Special Edition rod, and this has a really nice soft tip which complements these lighter hooks, and these fish were barely nipping at the bait today. I actually lost a few on a medium action rod earlier, and I switched to this medium light and didn't lose those 2 big ones, so that was a good change there. And then as far as the reel, I was throwing a Abu Garcia Black Max, which is a $39 reel you can pick up at Academy, and I'm using this reel just as a test to see how it's working, and so far I'm catching a lot of big fish and a lot of good fish on this reel, and for 39 bucks I'm really liking it. So you know, definitely don't have to get the most expensive reels in the market. If you look at a lot of my reels, they're super old too, from like 12 years ago. So yeah, these reels are pretty nice, these Black Maxes, so big fan so far. Oh, and then before I forget, the line. This is 14-pound monofilament line, Berkley Big Game. Nothing fancy. I like that 14-pound monofilament because it's pretty strong and I can rip the bait free of the grass, but I can also keep the bait a little bit deeper because it's 14-pound tests, and it just keeps that bait down there. Some people like to throw braid on their lipless crankbaits, but I like the mono for the extra stretch so I don't pull the hooks out of the fish's mouth. So that's my equipment. Well guys, I'm gonna have to call it a day. I didn't get any more bites after fishing those 2 good fish up shallow, but I did get 4 bites on that lipless crankbait, so I think that's a pretty good pattern, especially when they were all good quality fish. So I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about fishing this lipless crankbait in the shallow grass when the water temperatures are in the 40s. I know I learned something today for sure, and you know, it's something that I wasn't expecting to do today, but the name of this channel is called Fish the Moment, and so that's what I did. I didn't stay stubborn and fish offshore all day. I adapted to the conditions and wound up catching some really good fish up shallow on that trap. So really enjoyed today, and I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something. And if you did, hit like and subscribe down below. Leave a comment if you have any questions, and share the video with a friend if you think they'd enjoy as well. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.